So I'm Sean Dawson and I do chemistry, physics, 2-unit English and 4-unit maths. Basically for English, what I do basically is to know the quotes and know general essay structure, because when you get into the exam you read the question, you spend like 2-3 minutes planning your answer, and then you make your thesis, and the thesis being the most important part of the essay, you should spend a fair bit of time on that, like generally 2-3 minutes, thinking where you're going to go, like where's it going to lead, and how to tie that in with work you've done before. And then generally you just use like the body paragraphs basically to support your argument, and that's just basically, you know, your topic sentence, your argument, how it links back to your thesis, quotes, support, analysis, and then linking it back to the question. And you do that, and then you go to the conclusion, which is basically just summing up your case. For chemistry and physics, studying and doing questions for that is quite different to English, because obviously it's a more scientific subject and it's not humanities. But basically the questions, reading the key word, like reading the verbs specifically, like describe, all the way up to higher order ones like evaluate, analyze, assess. Like you have to read those verbs or else you'll get hammered in the marking. Also, the thing is with chemistry and all, in physics especially, they really want you to put in all the key details. If you leave out tiny little details, you'll get docked marks very, very quickly. And so, like for instance with motors and generators, if you don't put in the Faraday lens law, the equation for it, they could dock you for that. And obviously every mark in the HSC exam or in the trials or even any exam is very important. So you have to note those really key details. And the best way I found to revise for this is not like doing notes. Like a lot of my friends and a lot of people in the cohort like think writing notes and reading over the notes before the exam is the best way to study. But what I found is that doing the past questions, doing past HSC questions is probably the best method, and giving them to your teachers, because when you come to the day you've already done similar questions or even virtually exactly the same questions, and so you know like what to put down and you know the tricks of the trade. Maths is significantly different to all the rest, because with maths you're either right or you're wrong. So with English, with chemistry and physics, there's still some room for interpretation, and they have they can be picky. They can say, oh, you haven't put this in. But with maths, if you haven't put down the final answer or you haven't shown the steps, then you can still get the marks. With maths, basically, it's just doing past papers, like doing notes and having a nice, neat formulae book is nice, but at the end of the day, it comes down to, can you think on the day? Do you know the patterns? Do you know the formulae? Because in maths, it's not really the formulae, especially for 4-unit maths. It's all about thinking how the examiner wants you to think, and thinking how what sort of pattern relates to the puzzle, especially near the higher order ends, like questions 7 and 8 on the old system, 15 and 16 now. But in those questions, you really have to think outside the box, and you have to integrate all other aspects that you've learned, from like conics to mechanics and all that, and you have to put them all together and to solve the problem. But yeah, just overall for exam tips, it's to get a good night's sleep. That's probably the best solution. That's probably the best thing you can do at the end of the day, because if you wake up, and like I did for the Extension 1 Maths half yearly, and if you wake up and you didn't get much sleep the night before, you just won't think properly and you'll get hammered in the marks. So I think that's all I've got to say. So yeah.